the study, but I couldn't find it. So we're just going to find an article. We're going to read an article about term life insurance because it mentions the study. So let's get started. Just trying to educate. My mom doesn't like this filter. Don't worry about the filter. Worry about the article and the content. It's really not, I'm not making videos right now to be spectated, watched. They're to be listened to and internalized for the information that I'm providing. So that's why I'm trying to at least have a non-appealing filter. And plus, this is photo booth, so you'll figure it out when I get more tools and capabilities. So, term life insurance, let's learn about some term. Written by Carol Pope and Ashlyn Brooks, edited by Mariah Posey, reviewed by Kenneth Chavis the fourth, written November 3rd, 2023, it seems, or at least posted. All right. Bankrate is the company behind this, the website, as you can see. We're also looking to help people make smarter financial decisions. See, that's the main key is being in life insurance. I'm pretty much a financial consultant. So with that being said, just making the client see the right decision. If it's not buying from me, if it's buying from me or buying a specific thing, they, my duty is to benefit the client and in a fiduciary responsibility, educate the client. So here we are. Key takeaways. Term life insurance lasts a set duration, typically 10 to 30 years. Term policies are generally 3 times cheaper than permanent life insurance, which is also known as whole. 99% of term policies don't pay out due to lapse payments. So one of the major reasons why I'm making this video is because there are misconceptions about insurance companies. I'm one of the people that in my younger years, I thought that, especially once I learned about capitalism, the country is ran by dollars. So it really would benefit a company to figure out a way to collect money and not pay it. Um, Pretty simply put. But now, when I'm learning about insurance and becoming an insurance professional, I realize that these are contracts of adhesion, and companies are bound by these, laws in their state and federally to pay out based on contracts. So the contract law, a contract between a player and a team can go to court and likely be hashed out in front of a judge for payment purposes. So that's exactly what these are. And I end up learning that the breakdown is the communication, of course, but then also, an affordability and uh, the unwillingness to learn it, to learn about the policies. Because usually it's much easier to buy something that's much more affordable and sounds like you're getting a lot more value. But if it's a term policy, you're going to age out. You're going to possibly not be able to afford it when it renews. So that is the major reason why a lot of people have these misconceptions that insurance companies don't pay, and they will find a reason to not pay. A lot of them do. It's easy, it's advantageous, as I just explained, in a capitalist system to figure out a way to not have to pay money you've collected. Now, the key here is to understand that when you have a person who's willing to teach you about these products and the differences, it's your decision to make. And getting this product of insurance into the hands of multiple families is my mission, because I feel like our community, my black community, is underserved in all forms of agency when it comes to improving their lives, their standard of living. And that has been done on purpose, but ultimately that is a reaction. That's a result of, a larger argument, larger factors, being less educated, that my son's trying to voice search YouTube. But Yeah, I mean, really, food deserts, the lack of internet access, a lot of these things are going to impact how people are going to find out this information. But I think it's really important to be able to afford the insurance that you get and understand why you're getting it, why you're paying for it. So here we are. Crazy, crazy, crazy stat there that 99% of term policies don't pay out due to lapse payments. And, 99%, I believe it's like 90% of all term policies don't pay out. So, like for thinking about why, sure, 99% of the time it's because the person couldn't afford it or they forgot about it, things like that. But in reality, for the benefit of insurance to help you, you have to have it pay. So, you have to make sure you're getting the right one because it will come back to bite you. So let's read it. Term life insurance offers a budget friendly solution for those seeking financial protection during pivotal moments in life. By foregoing the cash value component present in permanent life insurance, term life delivers straightforward coverage for a set duration, which is the term, right? Whether you're navigating child rearing years or tackling mortgage commitments, term life can be a reassuring safety net. Bank Rates Insurance editorial team breaks down term life insurance to help you better understand if this policy is right for you. Now, I do want to make a small comment on the safety net thing. As we know, safety nets in political terms are social welfare programs. So, yeah, I mean, I think that those things should absolutely be provided to those that don't have a lot, the needy, and really people who aren't above a certain threshold of income. So, you know, going into a safety net aspect, I think that life insurance should be mandatory. It's part of the health insurance, ACA, Affordable Care. That's the whole point. And it should be something similar to our Social Security program, where the hours that we've worked should theoretically pay for X amount of insurance, which it does after 60 years. But I'm talking about like for those that don't have jobs, they could low key work in the industry because the industry needs a lot of help. So that's something that I do believe is something, a direction we should take, where we should look at a mandate that gets everyone covered somehow, some way. But that's, I'm a radical. I ended up learning politics and becoming more in tune with my radical uh, outlooks, my belief system, my revolutionary belief system, like free internet for everybody. If everybody had free internet, we would probably be able to be more productive. But that comes with drawbacks. It comes with a massive security threat. So we need to think about that and the uses of that internet. So yes, let's keep going. What is term? Term life insurance is a type of life insurance policy that lasts for a predetermined number of years rather than your entire life. When purchasing a term life policy, you'll choose a policy term, most commonly between 10 and 30 years. To help understand how term life insurance works, imagine you purchase a 10-year term life insurance policy. During that decade, you would pay your monthly annual premium on time. If you're okay, son? You need some water? No chocolate milk. Okay, I'll get it right after I read this, okay? If you were to pass away within that 10-year period, your beneficiaries would receive the policy death benefit. If the insured does not pass away within the policy term and the coverage expires, the policy would end and the beneficiaries would receive a death benefit when the insured passes away. However, there are exceptions to this scenario. Many of the life insurance companies offer specialized riders like conversion or return of premium riders that tweak the way term life insurance policies work. Uh, if you are purchasing term life insurance, you may want to speak with your agent about what riders are available for your policy. Like, for example, my agency, my company, the insurance company, is able to attach child riders, disability riders. If you get disabled, your policy premium doesn't get, it gets waived. The child rider covers children before they're born. So, for example, if you have the rider, you have another kid, they're automatically covered for a certain amount of money, like $10,000. So it's riders are very cool and very useful, especially if you need the temporary coverage. All right, so here are some advantages of term life insurance. Typically cheaper than permanent, but it doesn't have any cash value component because it's not permanent, or investment potential to build wealth. Now, that's somewhat not accurate, right? Because there are term policies that are connected with other accounts, other policies. There's a way to add some whole life with a lot more term, and you're building cash value. You still have a lot more term that lasts for a specific amount of time. But then there's ways to get some term, a little bit of whole, and a lot of investment where your actual payment to the company, some of that is to pay for the term, but a lot of it is to pay for their investment, like to go into investing, and you're able to match investment indexes and things like that. So um, there's investment potential with lots of insurance policies. Conversion or return of premium riders may be added for flexibility and may add flexibility and peace of mind. Of course, it's a very specific time period, and it gives families the ability to cover a significant financial liability that will eventually expire after a set period of time, such as mortgages or tuition. Sunk cost if you outlive the policy. That's the major thing. If you are going to outlive your policy, you need obviously some permanent insurance, and that really is never going to change. That's the facts of life, right? So a lot of agents end up selling a lot more term because it's easier to sell. It sounds a lot better, and they don't mention the fact that this is likely going to expire. And once it does expire, even if they do mention it, people are going to forget or not going to necessarily understand or listen. So they'll be like, hey, look, this is going to expire in 30 years, so be sure in 20 to get some whole life when you can afford the whole life. And that's why a lot of term policies don't pay out, because people think they're good and they are not. Now let's see some advantages. When choosing life insurance, it's important to know how term and whole life policies compare. Term life insurance has a couple of key advantages that make it an attractive option for those who need a larger death benefit for a specific amount of time. It is typically the cheapest type of life insurance, especially for younger people or new parents. The larger death benefit at a reasonable price can provide for children or dependents if something happens to the parent earlier than anticipated. Many financial planners advise individuals to invest the savings they get from choosing term life insurance over costly or permanent life insurance. For policies with level premiums, the cost will not increase with the age of the policy for the policy's life as it does with some other life insurance options. And once again, that's the same exact thing that I'm mentioning, is that the term does allow it to have cheap cost and you do invest the rest, but a lot of people, that takes a lot more work, from the person who's just looking to have peace of mind. So they will then, do it. The insurance company will go ahead and do that for them. So they can then reap the benefits of having anything over a certain amount, or the person can reap the benefits of having less risk, not losing any money. So, very interesting. There are lots of advantages to term, lots of advantages. You just have to know what you're paying for and how long you plan to pay for it. Term life insurance does have a few limitations to keep in mind. For example, term life insurance policies pay out a death benefit when the insured passes away, but these policies do not include a cash value account. Whole life insurance policies, on the other hand, typically include a cash whole life Blaze. Daddy's trying to record. Whole life insurance policies, on the other hand, typically include a cash value account that may accumulate limited interest and capped returns. what I just mentioned, which, like, again, a whole life policy is going to do that automatically. Term is going to need to be connected to some part of whole, or have, that company investing whatever you're sending it. Say the term policy is $50, you send the company 200, they're going to invest the 150. And in this case, in this exact disadvantage, that the whole life is going to do that only, but there are terms that do that as well. There are different types of policies. Another potential downside of to having term life insurance policy that it only remains in effect for a certain period of time. Because policy holders can outlive their policies, there's a chance that the death benefit will never be paid out. In fact, this is the study that I was looking for, and I still can't find it. A study done by Penn State University, clicking on this just leads me to another article, indicates that 99% of all term policies never pay out a death benefit. That's because most term policies don't pay their premiums and let their policies lapse, not because they outlive their policy, according to Entrepreneur. So, that was the main thing I wanted to mention. And here, once again, as you can see, there are different types of term policies. I'm going to quickly go through them. Level term allows you to keep your premium the same throughout the duration, as you can see, from 10 to 30 years. Decreasing term has a decreasing amount of coverage, usually for mortgage protection, right? Because the mortgage balance is going down. And that's why it is decreasing. So once the term is over, theoretically at the same time, your mortgage is going to be paid off. So you no longer need it, you no longer pay for it. Guaranteed renewable term insurance is exactly what it says. What happens is you're able to, let's say, purchase a cheap 5-year term for like 20,000, and then at the end of the 5 years, you're able to renew that without having to prove that you're insurable, which is a huge advantage, right? So that policy rider is really good, and we do that too. Convertible term insurance. This is also something we do. Is you can convert it into whole, but also without the need for a medical exam. Usually, it's just really based on age, and that's part of why I hammer home that fact that people have the opportunity to save a lot of money early on. All right, here's some rider coverage, different types of riders. Waiver of premium, as I mentioned. Return of premium, that's if you want that money back. Also, something that I mentioned. And your child term rider, exactly what I was just talking about. So if the child passes away, it covers the child. So if the child passes away, you get a death benefit. Very, very interesting. And then a lot of the times, people will get that child rider and then say, oh, my kids are covered. Okay, but you still can look at whole life for your children, because at that point, it's very cheap. So once they do get to adulthood, they still have that same exact policy premium, and they can add more, they can do whatever they want, but it's still very, very cheap, extremely cheap. All right. As we can see, term life insurance is calculated on age and health, and it definitely varies, but it's very, very cheap for younger applicants. And as you can see, once you really get to the point where the term is going to end, that's when you need to start paying attention to your health and age. And of course, you always want to compare. What I'm noticing, which is kind of cool, is my company, in comparison to other companies, is really much more affordable by a lot. And I'm pretty proud of that. That's pretty cool. And I'll explain that too in another video. All right. Will I get my money back unless you got that return of premium policy rider? No, you will not. How much term do I need? So this is where you can contact me for a needs analysis, and I will absolutely tell you how much you need. Obviously, people need permanent insurance to pay for what their final expense, a funeral. So with term, that's where all of the varying factors come in at. Everybody needs a certain amount of coverage for their funeral, based on their age and when they expect to die. So it's a lot easier to calculate. But with term, everybody has those temporary needs. All right, we're going to end it on that. This is cool. Looks like a life insurance calculator. I will be your life insurance calculator. Just call me or text me or write to me some way, some shape or form. And I'll be there for you. Like life insurance. In the words of Chad Ochocinco. Dial up my number. I'm gonna be there for you like life insurance. All right. Thanks for tolerating tolerating me and my child in the background. And I will see y'all in the next one.